Man, they can't keep getting away with this. New season, same thing. I feel like this game, I felt like it was match day 39, I guess I could say. Even as great as a Mercato that we've been having, bringing in some good names, there still needs to be additions made to this squad. The defense was in shambles this game, and it looks like there was zero improvements from last season. It still looked like Conceição was in charge with how bad we looked versus Cremonese this game. Not sharp whatsoever. If this is the team that wants to continue using a back three formation, our defensive game has to improve, whether that's bringing in someone else, even though we just brought in De Winter, which doesn't even feel like it's going to change anything or move the needle in this defense just because of how shaky we look. I mean, Pavlovic, how many times did he lose the ball? Or there was like that one chance where it's like he tried to control it and then he cleared it out, and then Cremonese had a shot on goal. There was just so much chaos, I felt like. I felt like there was zero organization, no communication. And I think the second goal that Cremonese scored, even though it was an absolute worldie of a bicycle kick, I'm still shocked that that actually went in. My jaw dropped on the floor when that goal went in. It was one of the best goals that I've seen from a team like Cremonese. It kind of just reminds me of like Benevento when they scored with their goalkeeper. It's just like moments like that when a lower table team kind of just shocks you in that moment. But a lot of talk, I think, was surrounding Estupiñán, which I don't even think he played that bad, to be completely honest. Even though there was a lot going down on his side, I think offensively he can contribute a lot. But I think the defensive side of his game does cause a little bit of concern just because of how often Cremonese were exposing that left-hand side. Maybe it's just because he needs to learn the system, but I think once we had someone like a Alex Jimenez there, I feel like it definitely helped a lot just because of how more defensive he was. But even when you have a guy like Pavlovic behind you, I feel like that makes it even more nerve-wracking because Pavlovic just leaks mistakes out the back. If there's one defender that we need to replace out of the back three of Gabia, Tomori, Pavlovic, it's got to be Pavlovic. No ifs, ands, or buts. I would love to see De Winter to kind of see where he slots in this center back pecking order, or I would love to see a Davide Bartazaghi get a shot at that left mid, left back spot for sure, because we know what he brings. Obviously, he's a fan favorite as well, so there is a little bias in there. And even though Pavlovic was arguably our worst player versus Cremonese, it doesn't even compare the performance. I don't even want to call it a performance because I feel like that's a compliment. Fofana and Loftus-Cheek, between decision making, man marking, long shots out the box, these were one of the most frustrating players to watch in this game because they left a 39-year-old Luka Modric, who totally outshined them, alone to fend for himself in this midfield, quite literally doing almost everything in the creative aspect of the game to create chances and to really bring the ball up forward. There's so many screenshots going around X and Twitter about how there was a pass to, I think, Jimenez that Loftus-Cheek could have had, but instead he passed it to Pulisic, whereas it's like, where's the in-game awareness from Loftus-Cheek and these midfielders? And Fofana as well. I mentioned earlier the second goal that Cremonese scored. He's just ball watching at this point. It's like if you're really just not even having a clue where these players are in the box, whether or not to defend or, to really take up space, you literally let him do a bicycle kick. Like, what are we saying here? Like, that is outrageous from Fofana. And I remember, like, when we were talking about his link up with Reinders and Fofana, I made up the whole Fofinders thing. And I thought I was so cool by doing it. But I don't know if this is the truth of the reality with Fofana or not, but in this specific role that Allegri had him in, it was absolutely awful. I don't know if it's just like the preseason hangover kind of going into the season, but man, Fofana was by far the worst player on the pitch, and he stayed in the whole game. He stayed in the whole game, which was absolutely outrageous. The fact that he left a guy like Samuel Ricci out that game. Fofana has to be benched for Ricci this next game. I've already seen enough of Fofana, and I have no idea, but it was so clear that in this next match, both Loftus-Cheek and Fofana have to be benched. They're cooked. If they start next game, we are finished. But I really want to believe in Loftus-Cheek, but when he drops performances like this, it's so hard to get behind a player like this. And I'd rather just have a midfield trio, right? If we do go with the 3-5-2, I'd rather the 5 across be, honestly, I'd go Davide Bartazaghi, Jashari, Modric in the middle to kind of really dictate the spine of this team, Ricci on that right, and then Salamakers. And we'll get into Salamakers later. But I've seen enough of Fofana and Loftus-Cheek, especially from the sample size that they gave us from the tail end of last season. And just with some of the last negatives that I have in this match, it was the attack. The attack was so flat, so dead. It's not even a question. Without Leao, we would be a mid-table team, and I'm not even joking. Between Pulisic and Jimenez, they created little to no chances that were actually threatening to the Cremonese goal. I can't really think of one opportunity that was created between Jimenez or Pulisic that really comes to mind. To be completely honest, if there is, leave in the comment section below because I'd love to hear it. Because they were just so absent, so dead. It literally felt like I felt like we were playing with 9 men at this point. And I really want to believe in Santi Jimenez, and I really want him to earn that starting spot, but it's really hard, again, to get behind a player like this when he has such an uninspiring performance like this. And I feel like the best thing that he can do right now is really learn what spaces to be in, learn how to make proper runs, and be a presence up top by linking up play and playing with his back to goal. Because I think that's exactly the striker that Allegri wants, is to someone to really link up play between all the players up top, right? Whether that's Salamakers going up and down that channel on the right-hand side, whether that's Modric doing like a 1-2 or something like that. I don't even remember a time in the game where Pulisic and Santi were like linking up play. So I think that's just one of the things that I'm kind of just looking at in this Santi Jimenez performance, to be like, okay, what more can you give me? Because realistically, I'm gonna be so transparent right now. Last season, right, when Santi Jimenez came in, maybe bar Empoli, or maybe the game that he scored when we were wearing the off-white jersey, I forgot what game that is. Other than those 2 performances, and I know he really didn't play a lot of games, there's really not a sample size that us Milan fans can look at to be like, okay, this is what Santi Jimenez can give us. And to be completely honest, it's like, I don't know how much more of an easy layup you can get to get your season started than playing Cremonese. You know what I mean? So it's like that does kind of cause the concern to what Santi Jimenez can bring us, but I'm still willing to give him time. I'm still investing my stocks, right? When you invest in stocks, guys, you invest low, right? So I'm investing my stocks in Santi Jimenez right now just because, number one, he hasn't been here that long, but we also spent a good chunk of change on him. So if he really wants to make a name for himself in this Milan team, he has to learn the system. But it's up to Allegri as well to kind of, give him the opportunities to really prove himself. But, right, you're already seeing with the Boniface transfer falling through, which I'm so bummed out about. I think, honestly, we should have just pulled the trigger. I don't give a shit if he had the 2 ACL tears. I don't give a damn about that because for me, it's like, how many times have we seen players come back from an injury, right? Florian Wirtz came back from that ACL injury, literally on the same exact team, by the way. Came back from that ACL injury. I remember Ronaldo had that knee injury and he came back and he was still good. I know it's Ronaldo, but point still remains that players can still come back from these really tough injuries. But regardless of the fact is, that Boniface deal falling through, I think, really hurt us in the long run. And now we're going up for Conrad Harder, man. What on earth are we saying with that? That is absolutely outrageous. I'm really disappointed in how the profile, right? We went from a Victor Boniface to a Conrad Harder, who isn't proven whatsoever. He's a bench player at most at Sporting CP. And to be completely honest, it's just a name that doesn't excite me whatsoever. It was a funny tweet on X and Twitter, how it was a highlight reel, and he was saying, this is the most disappointing highlight reel I've ever seen. And I couldn't agree more, but That's kind of the reality of the situation with our striker situation right now. But as for Pulisic, this guy was a ghost. He didn't do anything. And honestly, there's not a lot to say about it because he was supposed to be the one that really takes control of this game and really dictate this match. And again, up against Cremonese, we could have gotten an easier match day one than Cremonese at home in the San Siro. And Pulisic was just so absent. It looks like he wasn't even involved whatsoever. And I mean, look, I don't know if this is because of the protests and everything with the fans and everything like that, but I really do miss the Curva Sud, man. And they really help out this team to really get them up for matches like this when there's not a lot of motivation, I guess you can say, even though, look, match day one, you're in front of the home crowd. I don't know much more motivation than you need, to be completely honest. But I know the Curva definitely kind of adds that extra little fire to the flame. But regardless of the fact is, those are the negatives I had. And to be completely honest, the only two positives that were in this match was Luka Modric, like I mentioned earlier, and Alexis Salamakers. I was so impressed with Salamakers. Both of them were the ones that showed the most quality in this game. And for me, these guys should be the first ones on the team sheet. I cannot wait to see what this version of Alexis Salamakers has to hold because he was so exciting to watch. He feels motivated. He feels confident as well to play in this team. And I feel like that two-year loan, however you want to say it, right? 1 year loan from each team. I think that definitely helped him as well. And especially playing in a system kind of similar to what Allegri is trying to do. This is the system that's going to get the best out of Salamakers. But now that kind of begs the question, right? Are we willing to kind of put all our eggs in one basket to really complement one player? I don't know. I think it could definitely improve if we have a proper midfield, right? But I mean, look, I think with Leao in this team, I think we'll learn a lot. I think obviously Leao, best player on the team, hands down, it's not even close. He offers so much going forward, right? He drags defenders. He can literally create something out of nothing. And I think this probably would have been the perfect game for Leao to be inserted. I know he was injured and everything like that, but how many times do we see Leao, right? Even though he's double teamed, he literally gets past both defenders and then he pops a ball in the middle of the box. Bing, bang, boom. We're 1-0. So it's like, I feel like this was one of the games that Leao really would have thrived in. And as for Luka Modric, the fact that taking his age into account, 39 years old or 40 or something like that, he was our best midfielder in this game, and it wasn't even close. And it tells you all you need to know about the quality that he will bring to the table this whole season. And you saw him doing the most, threading passes, making space, and truthfully making it so easy for this midfield to play and to completely ruin everything he tried to make. By far, he was our best player that night, Luka Modric, for sure. But now it begs the question, now what? It's match day one. I think we need to be patient. It's a very long season, right? We're playing one game a week, right? So I think it gives us kind of preparation to be like, okay, this was what we did right. This was what we did wrong. And even though not a lot went right versus Cremonese, I think there still needs to be changes. Yes, Allegri made a lot of sus decisions that night, but overall, I have faith in this group that they are united enough to get the best out of each other. We have proper leaders in the locker room to really get behind each other. So guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about this game versus Cremonese, and let me know what you guys have to say for the whole rest of the season. I know it's a long season, still a lot of games left to be played, and guys, let's remember, Napoli lost the first game of the season last year and they won the league. I know, I'm grasping at straws here, but take that into account. Let that soak in to however you guys interpret it. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on all socials. Link in the description below. Leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.